video. And today I got What If Goku had Anti-Ki Part 2. And today I'll be actually posting on a Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday today, or Tuesday. And that's because today I kind of got myself an injury, and I have really nothing else to do but to upload. So today I'll be making an exception and uploading today. So hopefully you do enjoy this upload. Without further ado, let's finally begin this what if scenario. So I'll be leaving off, or starting off, where I left off last time. And that will be when Beerus was talking with Whis. As Beerus tells Whis, saying, Whis, we have to head over to that specific location. That power is still there. As Beerus, gets himself changed into his God of Destruction outfit, Beerus, Whis just obliges and listens to what Beerus has to say and heads off to where that power was. And I did say Goku would get clapped by Beerus, but that's kind of facts because Goku hasn't really got God Ki, but his Ki rivals that of God Ki, so it could go either way at this point. But we move. As Goku is now transformed, as he can feel his power. It's rather different, as he basically just tested out something. If he punches, kicks, as he can tell the difference in power, as now he smiles like, I guess I've reached a new power, something I will seek to master. As he was about to use the Kai Kai, but a beam of light struck Namek, as whoever actually landed there happened to be Beerus. As Beerus looks straight towards Goku, saying, so you're the one with that ominous power. So, show me what you got. As Goku gets into his fighting stance, saying, as you know, he is kind of nervous, but he gets into his fighting stance, but sweat drops because he knows who this is. This is the God of Destruction, Beerus. As Goku looks at him saying, the God of Destruction, Beerus, what are you doing here? I thought the Supreme Kai said you're supposed to be still asleep. As Beerus looks at him saying, well, your power kind of woke me up, and I wanted to see what the fuss was about. So, I will test your strength to see if you're worthy to be my rival. As on the other hand, there are the three Saiyans who were defeated by Frieza. And they were pretty much just lying on the ground, pretty much exhausted, as they could just feel Goku's immense aura. And once they kind of got up, just check what was going on, they saw Goku in a new form, and the man that Vegeta got traumatized by. The God of Destruction, Beerus, as he remembers the past and what Beerus has done to his father. As he wants to go up and attack, but he knows he'll get absolutely bodied by Beerus. So he just leaves it to Goku, or Kakarot in this case. As Beerus tells Goku that he'd either fight him or he'll destroy everything and everyone he loves. As the only people he knew was Mr. Kai, Pt.2, and all them. He knew them. That's kind of the only people he knew. So he didn't want that to happen though, so he, being kind of foolish, because he totally forgot about the fact that both of them are linked, decided to fight. As the fight begins, as both of them, or Beerus, charges up his ki, as you can feel his aura, the ominous power of the God of Destruction is getting shown, or being shown, as Goku begins this battle with a few punches and kicks, as Beerus matches him in speed and strength easily. But now they move on, as they continue throwing more punches and kicks, as the fight gets even more heated. As more punches and kicks are being thrown, shockwaves are getting sent throughout the whole planet, as Goku can feel some planets getting absolutely destroyed by their attacks. So Goku did the same strategical thing he did in the cannon, where he basically cancelled out the shockwave, so making sure that the planets aren't getting destroyed. And that's what he's been doing as they fight in outer space. And some of you may disagree that Goku cannot fight in outer space, but I kind of don't agree with that. Especially when Goku was out fighting in the God Arc. Yeah, like when he fought Beerus in in that arc, in that very specific arc, right at the start of Dragon Ball Super, when he fought Beerus out in outer space. So yeah, I kind of disagree, and especially the fact that, well, the Saiyans went out to space to fight Frieza's army. So I kind of disagree with the fact that Saiyans cannot go outer space. But we move from this. As well, they start the fighting. Okay, we move past that though. But right now they're in the middle of their heated fight. Their fight is going exactly the way Beerus wants it to. As Beerus is controlling the flow of the fight, getting most of the heavy hits on Goku. But Goku does land a few right hooks and kicks here and there, getting a few Ki Blast in or anti-Ki Blast in, as they kind of affect Beerus a bit. They affect him, but he feels that his God Ki isn't getting. Well, it feels like a normal Ki Blast, so Beerus doesn't really feel any Ki drop or getting his life sucked away. He doesn't feel any of that because he's got God Ki, which is kind of like the most purest form of Ki. It is the most purest form of Ki because you can't sense it. As Goku's Ki is like very different, like I said before in the first part. Very, very different from normal Ki. But Goku still tries his best against Beerus. He knows he can't beat him, but he tries. As he does coat his hand in magic Ki, punching Beerus with it or right hook with it. As Beerus can actually feel the increasing strength of that punch, so he returned the favor by doing the exact same thing, but coating his hand in the God Ki. As that really, really hurt Goku. But they continue throwing more barrage kicks and punches, and Beerus is getting very, very excited to see that this Saiyan has incredible and rather strange Ki, and is still able to keep up with him. As the battle continues for a little while longer, but Beerus had enough. As he is now going to destroy this planet, and he tries to. He basically creates the same massive kind of sun-looking thing with one finger and sends it down to planet 9. And as Goku did before, he tried to push it back with his hands, but goes back and charges up something new. This attack was charging with one hand as he is continuously charging it up. And it took him like at least 3 minutes as the orb was like legit almost right in front of his face. So, right after he's done charging, he yells, Final Shine! And this is like this is Vegeta's kind of attack. Yeah, it is Vegeta's attack. But I like this attack, so I'd say Goku could have it in this particular what if. Like, why not? But we move. As Goku yells Final Shine, blasting it as it's like released not as yellow, but as a dark or blackish color with purplish or reddish electricity as it collides with the destruction orb or just the massive sun that Beerus created in his finger. As both consecutive attacks collide, as it creates a massive shockwave, as multiple planets from different galaxies or just different galaxies and solar systems kind of get blown up by the immense strength. As Beerus and Goku's attack continue colliding, but Beerus is obviously winning this one, but Goku put in all of his energy into this one, even almost dropping out of his Rosé form, but still barely hung on, and managed to break through the blast as he broke through, as Beerus actually dodged the attack, but wasn't actually going to dodge the attack because he sensed this he could possibly destroy the universe or galaxies, and he would have to pay with like incredible repercussions because of Zeno, and he doesn't want to deal with that. So yeah, that basically happens. Beerus tanks the attack though, even though it legit hurt. He blocked it. He did his best to fend off the attack. Ends up working, but he ended up hurting himself pretty badly. But Goku immediately transformed and passed out. So he ends up, Beerus ends up catching him, saying, "Well done, Saiyan. You were the first to ever push me this far as a mortal. Well, please take him with me, or take him with us back to our planet, and inform the Supreme Kai that he'll be undergoing your training. And why not bring those other those other three Saiyans, man, from that planet?" As he points down to that green planet, as Whis decide why not take them, as they do. As I don't know why I'm trying to make them pretty relevant in this story, but like they're not going to be too relevant, but they might as well be. I'm only making them relevant in this particular series because of how the situation went down. But we move. As now Beerus has taken in four students. His top student or apprentice is Goku. Right behind him, Vegeta, and then Nappa, then Raditz. That's the order. As Whis tries to teach them to be more civilized, as Vegeta kind of caught on quickly but is pretty stubborn. Goku, well, he's already more civilized than the rest of them, and so he basically passes all that. But the first person, in my opinion, to actually crack and stop being so stubborn would actually be Raditz out of the three Saiyans. It would be Raditz. Next would have to be Nappa, and then finally Vegeta, as they learn how to be more civilized people, and learn some ways to be more, let's say, likable by others. As that's their first kind of step to improving themselves as like normal people. But Goku was already moving on to training, the hard part, like using that incredibly heavy bodysuit to train and just start pushing up with his thumbs. Yeah, that's what he was training with. And it was incredibly tough. But doing that, he could grow incredibly strong as he thoughts go stronger and stronger. As the other Saiyans start training too, as they see Goku training, as they think they can handle it, or they actually know they don't. But Vegeta thinks that Goku has an upper hand, and he doesn't want Goku to have that upper hand forever. So he trains extra hard, harder than the other two Saiyans, as Vegeta actually does not awaken Super Saiyan in this time. He actually ends up learning God Ki, because that is the purpose of Whis' kind of training, teaching him to access God Ki, as Vegeta was the first to access God Ki. Actually, no. Scratch that. Even though Vegeta trained harder, let's say Raditz accessed it first. Why am I doing this? Well, you know how Goku reached Super Saiyan first. Vegeta, kinda got jealous and pushed himself really hard and still didn't get it. But, after some time, he managed to get Super Saiyan some way, somehow, and just gave up on trying to surpass Kakarot, but just tried to surpass his own pride and all that. That's kind of the training I'm trying to give Vegeta here, and some more character development. But we move. As Raditz was the first of the three to actually access this, becoming a God tier Saiyan, or a godlike Saiyan. He's not a God tier Saiyan, but a godlike Saiyan. as he tests his power against Whis, as Whis just bodies him. It's not even a question. No question. Like Whis bodies him, but Raditz feels better about being stronger and doesn't really try to flex on the others, but just continues training it to be more perfect. As next on the list happened to be Nappa. Nappa ends up learning Super Saiyan God. He doesn't really have hair, but the only notable difference is his eyebrows and his eyes change the color of red, and he gives off a fiery red aura. That's the only main difference. As Nappa and Raditz now begin to spar to see how far their strengths are. As Raditz is obviously more suited to the form because he's awakened it first. But Nappa will catch on pretty soon. But next happened to be Vegeta as he unlocked Super Saiyan. Actually, no, Super Saiyan God. And Super Saiyan God was an incredible feeling. As even though Raditz has like more experience in the form, Vegeta has insane adaptability in some situations. And now that he saw a lower class Saiyan surpass him, he'd think of new ways to surpass Raditz even without the experience of the form. And I'm pretty sure he could do that. So he has insane adaptability, and he manages to beat Raditz in a spar, even though Raditz has more control over the form. As Vegeta was just using brute force and his regular techniques, and some new ones he picked up along the way while he was training to achieve his form. As Reese can tell, that they're getting stronger, but Vegeta relies too much on, well, brute force and not graceful technique. So Whis decides to train him in that. Tries to train him in the ways to use the God Key in a way that is more graceful and more beneficial. But we skip past them now since they had their time. So now we move to Goku. Goku is now training his Rosé form, as he named it Rosé, as he gets to visit his adoptive family, which happened to be Shin and Kibito. And Shin was his father-like figure, Kibito was his uncle-like figure. Okay, but we move. As training for Goku was rather different, since Whis didn't know what type of ki he possessed, but once Goku showed the ki he possessed, Whis was rather interested, and asked them what methods Goku used to train this, as Whis is a very knowledgeable person. So Whis could pick up a few things and basically show Goku how to use his anti-ki more efficiently. But even though we showed him, Whis can only demonstrate since he doesn't have that type of ki. So Goku had to figure it out on his own. And training this unknown ki and with people who have regular ki is very, very difficult. As they do train, Goku gets more and more efficient. Soon enough, getting incredibly OP moves, such as his own version of the Spirit Bomb, his own his own kind of way of using a move that Whis kind of described. He described this move as something called the Hatake, a move that destroys everything in a molecular level or cellular level. As Goku's ki can do the exact thing but suck away the life out of someone. So, excuse me, I do apologize if you do hear the background noises right now. So I'll be taking a water break. Alright, so we continue. So like I was saying, the Hakai can destroy anything out of existence. Like, even ghosts, they get absolutely destroyed. As Goku's ki is perfect for that, even though it's not destruction or, meant for that type of thing. Like, how Beerus' ki is like, it's basically the Ultra Ego or the Hakai Shin kind of ki that Beerus has that destroys. But Goku's one is very, very similar, so he could try that out. As Whis can't do it himself since he's not a god of destruction, but Beerus can. So Beerus shows him and shows him how to do it on a smaller object, so he doesn't destroy the planet or anything in his path. He can destroy anything in his path, really, but he's just demonstrating it on a small object. So you start small, then you grow, or you go to a big thing later on, as that's the plan for Goku, as Goku tries a small thing. Channeling his ki, like Beerus told him, into the palms of his hands, and releasing his anti-ki, and it didn't go too well at the start, as Beerus kind of got rid of the whole thing, while Goku, releasing his ki as he yells Hakai, kind of just, well, destroyed that small object and just sucked out all of its life energy, as Beerus can see the difference. So instead of trying to do the Hakai, he should create his own version of the Hakai, to make it his own version, or make it his very own, basically. So Goku starts practicing that, as he learned a new technique. As since his ki kind of absorbs, like, all their keys, it kind of gives his own anti-ki an increase. So he decides to create something that I got inspiration from Bond. Yes, from the Seven Deadly Sins. His ability is to steal. So I'm gonna say Goku created his own version of Fox Hunt. But the way he does this is he basically uses his ki as his ki surrounds his body, as he basically gets into a posture or a position where his hands are at the front of his face, and he basically clenches his fist. It's basically the same, pretty similar to what Robin's doing when she's using her attacks, but the opposite direction. Instead of his palms facing him, it's facing the other way, as he clenches his fist, saying Fox Hunt, as ki from basically any living thing gets absorbed, and the life energy of that thing basically gets taken away, and it crumbles up and dies. That's basically Goku's more deadlier and more effective version of Fox Hunt, and it's very useful, since it helps his ki grow and grow, as Goku now has a pretty OP ability. But the only thing, or the only way to cancel this is by using God Ki, and that's about it, actually. But we move, as Vegeta is now getting a little cocky, saying, Kakarot can't defeat us now, as he watches Goku train, as Vegeta walks up to him saying, So Kakarot, I challenge you to a spar with all three of us, as the spar is gonna take place in this planet. So the fight will commence shortly, as Goku gets into his fighting stance, taking out his sword with him. As Vegeta and the others get into their fighting stances, as they all yell, as a red fiery aura surrounds both of them, or all three of them, as they were coated in that red aura, as their hair changes, or two of their hair changes, as Nappa doesn't really have hair, but his eyebrows and eyes change to a reddish color, as all of them have now accessed Super Saiyan God and are on different levels. As right now, Raditz would be actually stronger than Nappa, as Vegeta took strongest straight away, since, he has incredible potential as a Saiyan, and you saw how in 6 months he already surpassed Goku, and Goku was like a Super Saiyan God, so I don't understand why they wouldn't, or how Vegeta wouldn't surpass the others in this type of scenario as well. But we move, as they all say, You can't use that cheap trick on us now, Kakarot, as Goku smiles, saying, I don't need to use that against you. I can defeat you with my bare hands. As he transforms, as he yells, as his hair changes to a pinkish reddish color, as now Goku's in his Super Saiyan Rose form. As the fight begins, as immediately Goku starts to dominate all three of them. But since all three of them have incredible coordination, Goku can't beat them in a one-on-one. Goku can't beat them all together, but in a one-on-one he'll dominate. So right now Goku's strategy is to pick them off one by one, as that was the obvious strategy, as Vegeta already knew what Goku was trying to do, so he decided to counter that and tell them all to go attack Goku in a synchronized attack to make Goku overwhelmed. And their plan was going very well. Vegeta throws a kick, Raditz throws a blast, and Nappa goes in from behind to hold Goku down as he tries to do that. But Goku has techniques that they don't have, specifically like a teleportation technique that he mastered with his anti-ki, and that's called the reverse Kai Kai. Yes, I know I just called it the Kai Kai, but let's be more specific and call it the reverse Kai Kai, because it kind of makes more sense making it reverse. As he teleports out the way, as Raditz hits him with a blast that pretty much injures Nappa severely, and Vegeta giving Nappa a kick kind of sold Nappa, as Nappa is now knocked to the ground, as he isn't unconscious but he's severely injured. As now they have a severely injured Nappa, and they can't work as great as a team when one of them is almost knocked out. So Goku picks off Nappa first, absolutely demolishing him and knocking him out with a spinning back kick straight to the head, knocking Nappa out as Nappa lands with a massive crash into the ground. As now, Vegeta and Raditz are left, as they both do their attacks and try to solo Goku, but it's not truly working. As now Goku's getting the upper hand, he just decides to put away his sword and fights one-on-one with his bare hands. One-on-one with his bare hands, but that's not how these Saiyans are playing. They're playing 2 vs 1. So Goku does 2v1, and so far his combat skills aren't that great due to him being trained by Kais, like I've said before, and his combat knowledge is very limited due to the Kais not really being too knowledgeable with combat, since they're not really supposedly meant for combat. But they do know a few things, but that isn't really relevant here. Even with those moves, they're really easy to predict by warriors who fight day in, day out, and were forced into slavery and to fight for a person they don't want to fight for. So, Vegeta and Raditz kind of got the upper hand with the combat skill, but with an intellectual knowledge and battle smarts, Goku has that down. Even without his combat skills, he's still able to beat them. Even going as far as to use his reverse, let's call it the, what should we call this attack? It's basically like the Kamehameha wave. If you guys could comment down a name for this. A name for this anti-ki version of the Kamehameha wave. As he blasts that at them, as Vegeta tries to use his Gallic Gun. Now, Raditz tries to use his Double Sunday, as both of their attacks combine and try to beat Goku's, but ultimately Goku overpowers them, defeating them instantly. No problem whatsoever. But now, Beerus was just having a nap, but, that's the usual, right? But somewhere else in the world, somewhere else in the world, someone on the planet known as Earth is creating a threat to planet Earth, as it isn't really necessary, or isn't really that difficult to beat because it's not that big of a deal. But Jiro still creates his androids, but they're significantly weaker since they don't have Goku and the other Saiyans there. Only Goku makes a few appearances here and there, and they can't really trace that key down since their technology is way too bad for that. I mean, they have great technology, but they can't use that anti-key because none of them possess such a thing. So they just tried to get as much knowledge and information about Goku as possible, but they aren't able to. But we move as that very specific visitor came. A very specific visitor came from the future to try to help Goku, but he doesn't realize that he's in a very, very different universe. Okay, his father is already a god tier Saiyan, or just a god-like Saiyan, and he doesn't even exist in this timeline. So, he was about to just go, but he thought to get rid of King Cold first. But he inspects Earth and does not see King Cold anywhere. So Trunks just had to leave. He had a little bit of fuel to go, not back to his own time, but to try go back to another time that is more accurate, as he does go back to the original canon timeline to give it to that timeline Goku. But he won't be giving it to this one, because this one does not possess such a disease, because plot armor, okay? But that's that, and we move from all that, as the Android Saga will be coming up very, very soon. But I think I'll be ending it off here. What do you guys think? If you guys liked it, why not, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. And guys, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I would really appreciate it if you subscribed, but if you're not really interested in the content, that's okay. And if you want to unsubscribe, that's fine by me. But it would really help me out if you stay subscribed. But without further ado, I'll see you all in the next What If scenario that might be coming out today. But I'll see y'all next time. Peace.